Despite the election noise that we had in October for the Denver metro housing market, we actually had that typical October uptick in activity. So it's November 11th, Veterans Day. Thank you for all those that have served our country. We actually had a pretty decent uptick in price, but I'll show you it's probably not what you think. For the 7 county metro area, we went from about 575 median price to 590, and this includes all residential properties, so condos, townhomes, duplexes, single family homes. For average price, we went from about 670, 669 up to 700, about 2% on the average. It's normal to get a pickup in September to October. This average price jump is a little bit more than normal. And I know that's hard to tell because our typical seasonal markets, looking back, you can see September 2019 to October 2019, we had about a 1% jump in the average. And let's go check that median for 15 to 420. Okay, a little over 1%. So our price went up, but not for the reasons you think. And that September to October activity jump is seasonally normal. On election years, it's a hit and miss just because all of the election noise and everything. But when it comes to Q4 deals, I recommend my clients look at price per square foot because this is what shows it's not that people are paying more for the same houses. It's that they are buying the bigger ones. That is very, very normal for Q3 and Q4. So you can see price per square foot was totally flat. I'm going to go back to 2019 because we all know 20, 21, 22 were crapshoot, and 23 wasn't bad, but it just wasn't normal. And I say normal meaning like reflective of seasonal cycles. I'm going to back up a little further so y'all can see it's not unusual for that price per square foot to level off or go down a little bit. But you can see September, October here is kind of flat. September, October here went up $1. September, October here went up $1. Pretty flat here. But the price, you will see we typically do get that jump September to October. September to October. It's normal to have a flat to a little bit of price bump in this time of year because it's your investors that are picking up Q4 properties to flip for Q1. It's your savvier buyers that are wanting to get things in the off season. Savvier buyers a lot of times have already bought and sold before. They're buying bigger, more expensive houses. So the price per square foot is what tells me, hey, is this more buyers going for the same properties, or is this just buyers buying the bigger ones and not the cheaper ones? Okay. And I'll break these out by price bracket here at the end so y'all can see what I'm talking about as far as the activity in the higher price points versus the lower ones. As far as showings for my seller clients, showings is actually going up a little bit more activity. So that shows the activity bump even with the election. Now that election is over, I'm already seeing that getting busier. I'm getting multiple offers on houses that have been on the market for 3 to 4 months. I'm having buyers reach out and I'm setting up new buyers that want to go shopping. And I'm letting them know if we hit the ground quick, we can beat a lot of the spring rush and we can have better leverage for you to negotiate during Q4. So your savvier buyers will buy in Q4 and you're going to see that per listing as well. Percent of close price to list price. This is what shows you the savvier buyers have leverage. It doesn't mean you can walk in and lowball something $200,000 below the list price. I received one of those offers last week and it was like, thank you for the offer. I'll take it to the seller. I have a feeling they will decline. Okay. Coming in and offering 10, 15, 20% below the list price, probably not going to fly, but you have more leverage than we've had since the rates took the huge hit in fall of 22. That's the kind of leverage you have right now. And it is normal to have a little bit more leverage in Q3 and Q4 because the people selling are usually needing to sell, not choosing to sell. Buyers, now is your time to negotiate on not only price, but on terms, on credit, on concession. I have a new buyer that I'm going to be taking out this weekend, and we're doing down payment assistance, and we're planning to ask sellers to cover some of her closing costs. That way she can get into a property for just a few grand out of pocket, which is almost impossible to do in the last 4 or 5 years in our market because buyers haven't had the leverage to ask the seller to cover some of those costs and or the down payment assistance programs haven't been competitive enough. When sellers don't have any other offers to consider, an offer with down payment assistance is still a deal to sell their property. Buyers take advantage of this time that we have for about the next 7-8 weeks. Come the first weekend in January is when I tell a lot of my clients I expect activity to pick up. For sellers that have a distressed property condition, I am meeting with another seller this week. It's a distressed property and they're probably going to be selling to an investor. It makes more sense for them to sell in Q4 because investors will love to pick up those deals in Q4 and early Q1 because then they can flip them, get all of the improvements done, and get them back on the market for that spring selling season. So if you have a distressed property, if you just want to be done, if you don't want to have showings, then now is a good time to reach out to your agent to do that. If you're in the Denver metro area, I have a list of investors for those. So please feel free to reach out to me. Still a good time for sellers that just want to be done or have something that would likely sell to an investor for some cosmetic updates. As far as supply, we're down, but that's pretty normal. It's been pleasant to have a little bit more balanced market condition here. In the last decade, it's been so much of a seller's market that it's nice that the buyers have leverage. There's options to negotiate. We get to use those skills a little bit more, which is fun for us as agents. So inventory is down. I expect it to continue to go down over the next month or two until things pick up in the spring. But there's still more inventory historically than we've had in a decade. So take advantage, right? For the buyers out there and sellers, make sure you are positioned and priced well and extremely competitively if we're going to sell here in the next month or two, or be ready to hit that spring market when more buyers come in and suck up that available inventory. Pendings. I know I got obsessed about the pendings last month. This is a little bit more seasonally normal. Typically, September to October, it goes flat to a little bit down to a little bit up. September to October, right? September to October. It is very historically normal to get a little bit of uptick or leveling off of activity September to October, but it's usually a pretty sharp peak down before and a really sharp peak down after. But we didn't have that this year. There's more people getting back into the market. There's more people that stayed in the market. Even with the rates not going down, yes, there was a rate cut this week. A lot of the lenders already priced that in. They're still hovering in the sixes to low sevens. We're not done into the fives. I really think that would cause our buyer activity to take off and get busy. But it hasn't stalled as much as it normally does. Even though houses are sitting on the market longer, see days in the MLS, that was flat last month. That almost never happens. That means things are going on despite the election, despite the rates, and that shows buyers still want to buy, sellers need to sell. Buyers, you have more leverage than we historically have had in a while, and you have more inventory. But there's other buyers out there. So I want to show you by price segment where the activity is. This is what shows you that more people, as far as price per square foot, your price per square foot on your $800,000+ properties actually went up. People are buying the more expensive properties in Q4. The blue ones are up to $350, red is $350 to $600, green is $600 to $800, and $800+ is going to be your higher end properties, so your second or third property most of the time. You can see entry level properties, $350 or less. The price per square foot's down. So there's not as many people out buying those. So you're up to $600,000 properties, that first time buyer range / move up buyer range. The price per square foot went down. That's what people aren't buying. And when they're sitting around, you can negotiate a little bit more. Now the 600 to 800, a little bit more activity there. I was surprised. And look at the pendings. The activity was still a little front loaded in the spring, but it didn't tank as much as it usually does seasonally this year. Back it up a little bit more. This is going to have a ton of data, but it's fun to look at. You can see we've got this leveling off of activity in the 600 and higher. And our lower price condos, there's less and less of them, so less going under contract. So what months of supply shows you is a balance between how many buyers are in that segment and how many sellers are in that segment of the market. So when I break it down by segment, you can see, and I'll even zoom in a little bit, that we've had this convergence of inventory. And even though we're having houses sit on the market a little bit more, look at this, $350,000 or less has more months of available inventory than any other price point in the entire market. Entry-level buyers, down payment assistance, negotiate some closing costs, get in now before other people do and suck up that inventory. But even in your $400,000 to $800,000 houses, we have pretty good inventory now compared to back in other seasons previously. Looking at the data, knowing what you're looking for, that's how I roll. Y'all know me by now. So if you're looking in the Denver metro area, let's sit down, let's make a game plan, see if we should act now, if we should hold off a little bit, or make a really strong plan for next spring or next summer. I even have buyers that I'm making plans with for next fall and next winter as well. Feel free to reach out to me. My information's down below. I also have times you can pick right off my calendar just to make it easy. Hopefully this is helpful for y'all. Thanks so much for the time and have a great day.